In a remote village, something incredible, almost unbelievable, is happening. They're performing a resurrection ceremony. The focal point is a young girl, seemingly the high priestess of this event. She chants some kind of incantation. Then, and I'm not kidding here, a dead monkey is pulled from a sack and it comes back to life. Seriously, you can imagine the scene that follows. The villagers immediately drop to their knees, begging for something. But two women stand out. They're frozen, clearly unsure of what to make of all this. The rumor is that this village has the power to bring the dead back. These women have traveled a long way, driven by one desperate hope, to resurrect their daughters. But their hopes are quickly dashed. The young priestess hears their requests and flat out refuses. One of the women, Hue Juan, wants to bring back her daughter, but the girl is in a vegetative state, still technically alive. The ritual only works on the actually dead. The other woman, Zhao Jing, faces a different problem. She had her daughter cremated after she passed. Ashes won't work for this ritual. The priestess explains that the ritual requires the body to be fully intact. Zhao Jing is devastated. She's ready to write the whole thing off as a scam, thinking she should just drag Hue Juan out of there. But as they're leaving, they see something that stops them in their tracks. They see a couple leading a young boy into the priestess's home. Peeking through a crack in the door, they witness the parents, tears streaming down their faces, saying goodbye to their son. The next thing they know, the boy crumbles into dust, disappearing before their eyes. The mothers are shocked. For Zhao Jing, it's a real eye-opener. It shows that this is not a scam. It is a real ritual that will bring consequences. But even that can't change her own reality. Hue Juan returns to the hospital, her heart heavy. Her daughter used to be a popular blogger, but that fame made her a target for a criminal gang running a scam. After working with the local police to rescue her, her daughter ended up in a vegetative state, unable to wake up. Zhao Jing's daughter's story is even more tragic. She got caught up in the same scam ring and was tortured to death. The mastermind behind it all, Zhang Shikai, was arrested and sentenced to death. But, as if this wasn't enough, the media swarmed the families of the victims, eager to exploit their pain. The mother of Zhang Shikai, the criminal, even had the gall to act pitiful, kneeling in front of Zhao Jing and the reporters. She claimed she would take on all the guilt after her son died. Meanwhile, Hue Juan's daughter remains in the hospital, hooked up to machines, desperately waiting for a chance to be transported back to Taiwan. The cost for a specialized medical flight is a staggering 10 million Taiwanese dollars. And, despite all the pain he caused, Zhang Shikai refuses to pay any compensation. His assets were seized, meaning Hue Juan and Zhao Jing won't receive a dime. So, Hue Juan starts live streaming every day using her daughter's account. After years, she finally manages to raise the $10 million. But, even then, she's not safe. Among the viewers and commenters, some are quick to criticize and insult her, accusing her of exploiting the situation for money. Even her own husband doesn't understand why she's spending so much money. In his mind, since their daughter is in such a state, it's unlikely she'll ever recover, and that money would be better spent on investments. Hearing this breaks Hue Juan's heart. Victims like them have had their lives destroyed by internet fraud, while the mother of Zhang Shikai, the man who caused it all, is living in luxury and comfort. Hue Juan and Zhao Jing find themselves on a flight back to Taiwan. And who do they see? The mother of the monster who destroyed their lives. She's sitting in first class, laughing and chatting away, without a care in the world. And it gets worse. When Zhang Shikai is finally executed, his mother is eerily calm throughout the whole thing. It's like she's detached from reality. Hue Juan and Zhao Jing are the ones who are outraged, feeling that the punishment isn't nearly enough. Zhao Jing's daughter, Xin Yi, was brutally tortured, violated, her body was completely broken. And this thing, Zhang Shikai gets to die a quick, easy death? Zhao Jing had even tried to bribe a prison guard to get a chance to ask Zhang Shikai why he killed Xin Yi. His answer? He shows no remorse whatsoever. He just sneers that she's dead anyway, and no satisfying answer will bring her back. It's that callousness, that complete lack of empathy, that finally pushes both Zhao Jing and Hue Juan over the edge. They decide right then and there that they're going to bring Zhang Shikai back to life. Now let's rewind a bit and talk about Hue Juan's family. The relationship between her and her husband has been strained for a long time. He often verbally abuses her. But after each of these incidents, she forces herself to smile and be strong for her daughter. Initially, when her daughter was invited to travel to Southeast Asia, Hue Juan didn't suspect a thing. Her daughter was regularly calling home, and her YouTube channel was constantly updated. In the videos, she always looked radiant, appearing in luxurious locations. Everything seemed normal. Hui Jun's daughter's best friend was actually Zhenzhen, Zhao Jing's daughter. Knowing that Zhenzhen's family wasn't well off, Yi invited her to help with her filming. Both girls had bright futures ahead of them, but a moment of carelessness led them into a dark, deadly trap. Back to the present, after deciding to resurrect Zhang Shikai, they seek out Li Ge, a powerful figure in Chinatown. Li Ge doesn't ask why they want to steal a corpse. He just writes an astronomical number on a piece of paper and tells them to go raise the money. If they have enough, he guarantees he can get them a body. Because, let's face it, in this world, money can buy you just about anything, even the services of those who skirt the law. Faced with that unbelievable price, both women are silent. The reality is that it's been several years since the fraud case. The solving of the case wasn't the end, but the beginning of the real collapse of their worlds. When Zhang Shikai was arrested, Zhao Jing was swarmed by the media. Her job was selling insurance, but during that time, she couldn't go see clients, and her sales plummeted. In the past, to sell insurance, she had relentlessly approached friends and relatives. But she didn't expect that the health insurance that the company promised would cover all costs would fail to compensate when her friends had health problems, even causing losses. This made friends and relatives see her as a swindler. Her sales could only rely on strangers. Now that she couldn't work, her boss directly pushed her aside. But now, she decides that she has to do something. She really wants to have the money to resurrect Zhang Shikai, so that he can also taste the pain that her daughter suffered. So Zhao Jing, remember, is broke and desperate. She decides to contact a journalist who has been trying to interview the families of the victims since the beginning. She arranged to meet at her insurance company. When her boss finds out she called the journalist, he gets freaked out. He panics and drags her into his office, demanding to know what she's up to. Zhao Jing calmly sits down and says she's planning on giving an interview. She explains that she had nothing to do with her free time, so she went through all the insurance contracts. That's when she found a crucial detail. The insurance, internally rated as high risk, was being sold to customers as a low-risk product. And, on top of that, the salespeople weren't even mentioning the possibility that customers could lose their investment. The boss tries to deny any responsibility, claiming the insurance was introduced before he came to the company. Zhao Jing isn't worried. Both of them know that if she tells a journalist about this, his career is over. Zhao Jing adds that she will resign from her job, and then go on television to apologize to everyone who bought the insurance from her. The boss's face turns white. He realizes that Zhao Jing is going on a suicide mission, threatening to bring him down with her. His only option is to try to convince Zhao Jing to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Of course, Zhao Jing isn't going to sign it for free. To shut her up, the boss has to pay her a huge sum of money. Blackmail at its finest, folks. Meanwhile, Hui Jun has a rare opportunity to return to Taiwan. She goes to her husband's house but finds it covered in a thick layer of dust. It doesn't look like anyone lives there anymore. Taking advantage of a moment when her husband isn't watching, she goes through his briefcase. She finds some suspicious documents, including a mortgage foreclosure notice and prenatal records. So, she follows her husband for a day and discovers that he's been having an affair. She goes to the mortgaged house, and it's full of traces of another woman. Turns out that her husband has a whole other family in Taiwan. This woman is young, beautiful, highly educated, and even a member of a politician's campaign team. They even have a child together. No wonder her husband was growing more distant. He even tried to cut off her and her daughter's living expenses and hospital bills. Hui Jun's heart breaks even more. She secretly gathers all the evidence and takes the initiative to file for divorce. When she tells him, her husband can't hide his smile. But then Hui Jun throws all the evidence in his face, threatening to post it all on YouTube. Now, the husband isn't a public figure, so the threat isn't too serious for him. But the mistress is a member of a politician's campaign team, which will definitely hurt the election and brand their child with a bad reputation forever. The husband asks her what she wants. She responds, "I want all your money and a house in Tianmu." Pushed into a corner, he has to agree. Just like that, the two women quickly gather enough money and head back to Southeast Asia. They give the money to Li Ge and soon receive the intact body of Zhang Shikai. They plan to keep the body in the freezer compartment of an old ice cream truck. And guess what? At this precise moment, a drunk stumbles up to the truck and starts peering inside. Desperate to get rid of him, Zhao Jing has no choice but to scoop out some of the ice from the freezer, the same ice that is chilling the corpse, and offer it to the drunk. Unaware of what he is drinking, the drunk happily gulps it down, praising how delicious it is. Can you believe this? Barely able to ward the drunkard off, the women hurriedly drove to the priestess's house. During the drive, Zhao Jing suddenly thinks about her late husband. She was remembering when she first heard the priestess could resurrect the dead, and her first thought was to resurrect him. He had terminal cancer, but hid it from her because he didn't want to spend the money they had saved. But when he was dying, Zhao Jing spent every last penny trying to save him. This left her broke and the family in debt. Ever since her daughter's incident, she has blamed herself. If she had listened to her husband, maybe her daughter wouldn't have left the country for work to ease the family's financial burden. A short while later, the two women bring the body before the priestess, but she keeps shaking her head. She doesn't sense any real remembrance or grief for the deceased. Reluctantly, Zhao Jing steps forward, treats the body as if it were her husband, and starts pouring out her longing and love for him. Sure enough, this moves the priestess, and she begins the ritual. After a while, the body on the ground actually opens its eyes. Did the ritual work? Let's rewind a few years and look at Xini. She innocently travels to Southeast Asia. The person who picks her up is Zhang Shikai. He drives a luxury car and presents himself as a Prince Charming, driving Xini to a resort called Paradise, located in the middle of nowhere. But this place is anything but paradise. After arriving, Xini realizes that her best friend, Jinjun, is being held captive. It's a huge scam operation, and the people trapped there are living like animals. Every day, they have to pretend to be employees, making calls to scam people out of their money by manipulating their emotions. If they don't meet their quotas, they don't get food. Back home, Hui Juan notices something strange while watching the videos her daughter uploads. In the background noise, she hears someone crying for help. She keeps calling Jinzhen, but her daughter doesn't answer, making Hui Juan very worried. Zhao Jing comforts her, saying that Xini has been calling home every day and Jinzhen is with her, so there probably isn't anything to worry about. Just as she finishes speaking, Xini calls. On the phone, Xini is smiling brightly, looking like she is having a great time. Hui Juan hurries to ask her about Jinjin. Right away, Jinjin also appears on the screen. But what Xini says is strange. She asks her mom to tell her dad not to worry about her, because she will soon meet him again. Wait a minute. Isn't Xini's dad already dead? The two mothers finally realize something is wrong. As we suspected, both girls were being held captive, forced to call home and pretend everything was fine. The scammers needed them to maintain the illusion that they were living the high life so they could lure in more friends and family. The reality was far from glamorous. Each room was locked with an iron door, making life there like being in prison. Guards patrolled the hallways. Handi's roommate was Mei Chuan, a woman who seemed to have been there for a long time. She had a small dog and was always the first one to meet her quota and get to eat dinner early. On the wall of their room was a chart. Every time she met her quota, Mei Chuan would stick a star on it. Rumor had it that once you filled the chart with stars, you could escape this living hell. Finally, that day came. Mei Chuan filled up her chart, and it was time for her to leave. Zhang Shikai held a special ceremony for her, announcing to the crowd that anyone who met their quota would not only get to leave, but also receive all their commissions. This scene filled the others with admiration, and Xini began to have hope again for a bright future. Before leaving, Mei Chuan specifically handed her dog to Xini, telling her that she could try to target her friends and family. That way, she could meet her quota faster and more successfully. Xini was hesitant. Mei Chuan told her that the most important thing was to escape and not to feel guilty for tricking others. Finally, Xini was convinced. The next day, Xini made up her mind and started scamming the teacher who had always been kind to her. Sure enough, this scheme was quickly successful. And once she did it once, she did it again and again. She became more and more efficient. That night, Xini noticed that her dog had disappeared. She went out to look for it. Following the dog, she came to a room filled with iron beds. On each bed lay a person covered with a white sheet. The dog kept barking at one of the beds. Xini noticed that the hand hanging off the bed looked like Mei Chuan's. Overcome with fear, she couldn't help but lift the sheet. Sure enough, lying underneath was Mei Chuan. Turned out there was no escape from this hellhole. Even if you filled the chart, all that awaited you was death. Even worse, Zhang Shikai was standing right behind her. Now back to the present. Hui Juan and Zhao Jing didn't want Zhang Shikai, after the ritual to escape. To prevent that, they injected him with a strong sedative and hung him up in their house's storage room. They placed a bucket of water beneath his feet. Time to wake up. Zhao Jing sticks an electric baton into the bucket of water. Immediately, a jolt of several thousand volts of electricity shocks Zhang Shikai awake. Zhao Jing still doesn't think that's enough. Before she died, Xin Yi had many wounds on her body caused by sharp objects. She grabs a knife and stabs it toward Zhang Shikai. Zhang Shikai, in pain, kicks Zhao Jing away. In the heat of the moment, Hui Juan grabs the electric baton and slams it into Zhang Shikai, who's thrashing around uncontrollably. The shock seems a little too strong, though. Zhang Shikai stops breathing. In a panic, fearing that the man they spent so much time and money resurrecting might die before they can make him suffer, they call an ambulance. Unbelievably, Zhang Shikai's will to survive is incredibly strong. In the middle of the ambulance ride, he suddenly wakes up and makes a run for it. Just then, the police see them. Despite his injuries, Zhang Shikai easily knocks down the police and escapes into a narrow alley. Zhao Jing knows it's dangerous to go after him, but she can't help herself. She runs into the alley. She is surprised by Zhang Shikai, who almost chokes her to death. Luckily, Hui Juan shows up in time to help, injecting Zhang Shikai in the neck. After all that, they take him back to the storage room and tie him up again. At that moment, Hui Juan gets a call from the hospital about her daughter's condition. She's in critical condition with a multi-drug-resistant infection and needs emergency surgery. But even the best-case scenario from the surgery is only temporary life support. Tearfully, Hui Juan signs the consent form for the surgery. But the cost is enormous. Even scraping together everything they have, they're still short. In the middle of all of this turmoil, a kind young man steps in to help her pay the rest. Seeing this, she has doubts. Is clinging to her daughter's life even a good thing? Or is she just being stubborn? Would all the suffering end when she finally passed away? She had considered giving up. But that day, when she called her daughter's name, the girl suddenly reacted and even grabbed her hand. This rekindled her hope. She couldn't bring herself to give up and continues to treat her daughter. That's when the two women get a brilliant yet twisted idea. They decide to use this to their advantage to force him to call his family and demand a ransom. They make Zhang Shikai write down on paper how much his life is worth. He writes the number 10 million. Zhao Jing isn't happy with this number. Zhang Shikai shakily adds another stroke, writing 40 million. To celebrate the start of their plan, they follow the rules of the old scam operation, setting off fireworks at the same location. Flashback. In 2019, Zhang Shikai was arrested for fraud and extradited to Taiwan. However, there is no agreement between Taiwan and Southeast Asian countries to provide mutual legal assistance. Taiwanese police cannot directly participate in the investigation at the scene of the crime. They can only ask Zhang Shikai to be present to complete a simple registration procedure. That's how the scammer, despite causing such a huge scandal, simply took a tour of the prosecutor's office and strutted out in a luxury car. But what's truly infuriating is that his mother doesn't care about his crimes. Instead, she actively supports him. Under that tolerance, Zhang Shikai casually goes out for late-night snacks with his sister and his crew. But for Zhao Jing, a mother of a victim, the pain is like 1,000 arrows piercing her heart. She goes to find Zhang Shikai. As soon as she sees him, she flips over the entire table. Zhang Shikai's cronies quickly pull him away, while his sister jumps into a brawl with Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing doesn't back down, she gives as good as she gets. As a result, both of them end up at the police station. Soon after, Zhang Shikai's mother shows up. The police know she's the mother of a notorious scammer. They know she's complicit, but because she has money and influence, they give her a warm welcome. And before long, Zhang Shikai's sister is released. As she passes Zhao Jing, Zhang Shikai's mother shamelessly declares that right and wrong will have their day, that everyone reaps what they sow, and that she hopes Zhang Shi will let go of his hatred. Can you believe the audacity? Taiwanese law is so lax that, out of all the scammers prosecuted, only 1 in 5 are convicted, and of those, only 0.6% receive prison sentences of more than 3 years. Clearly, a country like that. According to statistics from recent years, Taiwan has only convicted a total of 350 people. That's just not fair. For Zhang Shikai's mother, it doesn't matter how the money was earned. What matters is laundering it. So, she prepares to invest in a shopping mall. The counselor tells her repeatedly that to get that land, she needs to completely cut off ties with her son. After all, Taiwan can't allow a scammer to live comfortably. Zhang Shikai's mother sees the logic and immediately declares that her son's actions have nothing to do with her. Now Zhang Shikai wants to be free. He demands that Zhao Jing and Hui Juan send the video of his kidnapping to his mother. He's certain that once his mother sees the video, she'll pay the ransom. Recently, Zhang Shikai's mother has taken her daughter, Xiaozhang, to Southeast Asia, preparing to set up a charity here. This charity is even masked with a religious facade, with monks occasionally lecturing on meditation. The participants are all wealthy philanthropists. But because of Zhang Shikai's case, the situation has been tense. His mother doesn't dare to waste money, and Xiao Zhang's card has had its limits reduced. Xiao Zhang feels humiliated in front of her friends because she doesn't have money for shopping. Just then, Zhao Jing shows up and exposes the rich girl image she has built up. Immediately, the two get into an argument. Xiao Zhang gets pushed into the swimming pool. During this moment of embarrassment, a young man offers a hand. The tall and handsome stranger makes Xiao Zhang's heart skip a beat. Not stopping there, he even offers her a presidential suite key, leading her to believe he's incredibly wealthy. At this time, Zhao Jing and Hui Juan also begin to investigate the charity, but they find that the paperwork is extremely clean. Even the assets under Zhang Shikai's mother's name are minimal. She only has 1 million Taiwanese dollars, and she has donated it all to the charity. It's clear the story isn't adding up, because Zhang Shikai was brazen enough to demand a 40 million ransom. To find out where the Zhang family is hiding their money, they start acting out a play in front of Zhang Shikai. They take turns talking, saying the video has been sent, but his mother doesn't believe it. She's convinced that they made it up and refuses to pay the ransom. Zhang Shikai has to teach them how to make an effective extortion video. He grabs a newspaper from that day, sticks it to his chest, and reads the date himself. Then he sends both the video and the newspaper to his mother. After filming the video, Hui Juan immediately goes to Zhang Shikai's mother's charity, weeping in front of the Buddha statue. She says she keeps dreaming about Zhang Shikai sitting at the end of her bed. The master advises her to let go of her inner demons and choose forgiveness. Hui Juan seizes the opportunity to say she also wants to choose forgiveness and wants to join Zhang Shikai's mother's charity. Zhang Shikai's mother's expression changes immediately. The next day, Zhao Jing pretends to answer Hui Juan's phone right in front of Zhang Shikai. On the other end, Hui Juan says his mother won't even spend 20 million, let alone 40 million. Zhang Shikai panics and blurts out that his mother has cryptocurrency. All the dirty money is stored as cryptocurrency to avoid oversight and make transactions easier. But right after he says it, he realizes he misspoke. Immediately, Hui Juan appears in front of him. She never actually sent the video. At this time, Zhang Shikai realizes he's been tricked. They never had any intention of sending the kidnapping video to his mother. Zhao Jing only did that because, years ago, Zhang Shikai also filmed a kidnapping extortion video of Xin Yi but never sent it to her. Now she understands why he did that. He wanted Xin Yi to feel abandoned by her family, completely hopeless, and controlled by him. Now Zhang Shikai collapses to the ground. He has finally experienced the feeling of the victims he imprisoned back then. Next, to clearly investigate how this charity operates, Zhao Jing and Hui Juan decide to seek someone's help. That person is lawyer Huang Yizhen, who helped them in the lawsuit and got Zhang Shikai sentenced to death. Huang Yizhen's daughter is An Qi, and she, Xin Yi, and Jin Zhen were all close friends. The three of them were tricked into going to the scam area, but in the end, An Qi was the only one who made it out safely. However, Huang Yizhen believes she has a new life and no longer wants to be involved in this matter. But Zhao Jing isn't planning on giving up easily. She directly sends Huang Yizhen a few photos. In the photos, An Qi is holding a younger child. Seeing these photos, Huang Yizhen's face turns white immediately. Years ago, after the children were rescued, Huang Yizhen's daughter was the only one who survived and could speak. Her testimony was extremely important. However, Huang Yizhen was extremely protective of her daughter and didn't allow her to give a statement. She also didn't allow her to mention the time she was imprisoned. At first, Zhao Jing and Hui Juan simply thought that she didn't want to face a painful past, so they were understanding. But as time went on, Zhao Jing couldn't take it anymore and sought out Huang Yizhen's daughter to ask for answers. Sadly, she didn't say a single word. If things had stopped there, it would have been one thing, but a few years later, Huang Yizhen got promoted, got a raise, and became a partner at the law firm. Her daughter, An Qi, got into Yale, presented herself to the public as a shining example of a young person, talking at length about how she dealt with the scammers and how she cleverly escaped the scam area. At the party celebrating her daughter's acceptance into Yale, Hui Juan showed up uninvited. She had too many things she wanted to know, too many questions she wanted to ask. Her attitude was softer and more friendly than Zhao Jing's, and she even brought a bouquet of flowers. But even facing such a friendly Hui Juan, Anqi remained silent about what had happened in the scam area. Hui Juan had to resort to an emotional appeal, taking out her daughter's belongings and trying to sway her. Unfortunately, Anqi stuck to her decision. To find out the truth, they had thoroughly investigated Huang Yizhen's family for years and discovered that not long after the scam case was solved, Huang Yizhen became pregnant. She quickly gave birth to her second daughter. But this baby girl was actually the child that Anqi gave birth to. That also means the father of the baby is very likely Zhang Shikai. This secret absolutely cannot be known. After realizing the seriousness of the situation, Huang Yizhen had to take her daughter to Southeast Asia. She had always coldly rejected their pleas for help, but this time, she confidently assured them that she would do everything in her power to help them demand civil compensation. But Zhao Jing and Hui Juan wanted to talk to Anqi more. Even though she didn't want to, Huang Yizhen had to agree. Huang Yizhen and Hui Juan wanted to know why Anqi wanted to give birth to this baby. If she had been raped, she should hate the person who violated her. But her answer made them both suspicious. Anqi said she didn't know why, but the child had to be born. Could it be that she wasn't raped but volunteered? Or from the very beginning, she lured Xinjin and Xin Yi to the scam area. At the same time, Xiao Zhang is indulging in the pleasure of love with Ethan. Ethan introduced his family background. His mother is a Thai Chinese, and his father is a German Thai mix, but he passed away a few years ago. After his father's death, his mother remarried a tycoon who runs a fabric business in Southeast Asia. The two of them don't have children, so they want him to take over the factory. But Ethan doesn't want to run the business. He just wants to pursue art, enter the fashion industry, and become a photographer. Recently, his goal has been to open a photography studio in Paris. Xiao Zhang was already very interested in the fashion industry, and hearing this made her even more excited. She felt that Ethan was the Prince Charming that God had given her. They'd only been dating a few times, and already Ethan was giving Xiao Zhang clothes and inviting her to meet his mother. But Ethan's mother immediately started talking about family marriages, making it clear that she didn't think Xiao Zhang was good enough. To prove she was worthy of Ethan, Xiao Zhang had to grit her teeth and participate in an auction, buying a bracelet worth $700,000 to give to Ethan's mother. When she signed the payment, she hesitated. Ethan came over and added fuel to the fire, saying his mother really liked her. Out of options, Xiao Zhang had to sign. In reality, this Prince Charming Ethan wasn't a rich man at all but a gigolo. And the mother he brought along was just one of his female clients. Needless to say, this meeting was a trap set up by Zhao Jing and Hui Juan. Zhang Shikai used to love to trick their daughters into falling, so they decided to do the same, to let Zhang Shikai's sister suffer the consequences. That night, Anqi earnestly begged Zhao Jing and Wang Hui Juan to let her meet with Zhang Shikai one last time. After his hopes had been shattered, Zhang Shikai had become somewhat tired of living. At this time, Zhao Jing and Hui Juan told him that Anqi had given birth to his child. Hearing this, he finally regained his spirits. As soon as they met, Zhang Shikai immediately asked Anqi if the child looked like him. Anqi vehemently denied it. Zhang Shikai was annoyed and brought up that Anqi had been violated by many people in the scam area. This enraged Anqi, and she angrily grabbed a pair of scissors, wanting to kill Zhang Shikai, but Zhao Jing and Hui Juan stopped her in time. Zhang Shikai, pushing his luck, sneered, "Didn't you ever have feelings for me?" Anqi immediately retorted, "I never had any such thoughts." Zhang Shikai immediately shot back, "Haven't you ever killed anyone?" The back and forth seemed to imply so much. But at this time, the police suddenly received a report and raided the convenience store. Fortunately, Zhao Jing and Hui Juan had already bribed a corrupt local police officer, who helped them drive the police away in time. The person who called the police was Anqi's mother, Huang Yizhen. Zhao Jing hurriedly took her daughter back to her, advising her not to be too controlling. From the pharmacy next to the convenience store, they could clearly hear the movements in the storage room. So, from the beginning, Zhao Jing had planned to accuse the pharmacy owner of selling banned drugs, causing him to be detained for a few days. Unexpectedly, that day, the boss was released early and happened to find out that Zhang Shikai was locked in the storage room. Hui Jun's heart skipped a beat, afraid that the pharmacy owner would call the police. But he looked at Zhang Shikai with a sinister and evil look and directly injected him with a sedative. Turns out the pharmacy owner also had a grudge against Zhang Shikai. Back when he delivered vegetables to the scam area, he had met a girl who was screaming and running away, begging him for help. Apeng couldn't bear it and stood up to shield the guards, but he was eventually pulled away, and the girl was dragged back. Apeng had been comforting himself that he shouldn't interfere. The next second, the girl fell from the sky, hitting the roof of his car. Fresh blood flowed down the roof of the car. That scene haunted Apeng. He was a moral person, and just witnessing such a tragedy made his conscience uneasy. Unfortunately, he was just an ordinary local. The biggest intersection he had with the scam area was delivering vegetables once a day. A person like him was basically not controlled by the rules of the scam area. That night, he met a girl who was running away. That girl was Xine. He couldn't help but hold Xine back, advising her not to run away, because running away would only lead to death. But Xine used the local language to ask, "If I stay, won't I die?" The answer to this was clear in both their hearts. Apeng's conscience was uneasy. He hadn't done anything last time, but this time he wanted to do something. He offered to take Xine away with him, but right at that moment Xine thought of her friends. She earnestly begged Apeng, promising to come back the next day to pick her and 2 more friends up. In such an environment, those who are too kind often don't have good endings. Others want to pull their friends down with them, but Xine, even though she was clearly tricked into this place by her own friends, still wanted to lend a helping hand. The next night, Apeng arrived as promised to pick up the 3 girls, but they were unable to escape the scam area successfully. In the middle of the road, Zhang Shikai sat in the passenger seat, demanding that Apeng keep silent, not to make a sound. He wanted to give them a little more hope, so that when they fell into the abyss, they would be even more desperate. When the car stopped, the girls thought they had escaped their doom, but found that they were still trapped in hell, even a deeper level of hell. Meanwhile, Xiaozhang is in a close relationship with Ethan, a tall, handsome, rich guy who loved her at first sight, pampered her to the extreme, and even wanted to marry her was something Xiaozhang had never imagined. Hui Juan went to the charity every day to check in. Zhang Shikai's mother couldn't help but sneer, saying that no matter how she begged the gods, her son wouldn't come back to life, and Hui Jun's daughter wouldn't wake up. "Whether my daughter wakes up or not, I don't know, but your son has truly come back to life." Seeing that video, Zhang Shikai's mother was so shocked that she couldn't speak. In another development, Huang Yijin went to Zhao Jing. She hoped Zhao Jing could make a deal. She guaranteed that she would use all her existing connections to help Zhao Jing clearly investigate the case, so they could receive the civil compensation they deserved. But in return, Zhao Jing had to let Zhang Shikai die. Zhao Jing suddenly asked a question, "Are you sure Anqi was raped?" A question that has always haunted Zhao Jing. She knows her daughter was called by Jinjin. Jinjin told Hui Juan that she was called by Anqi. So why did Anqi go to the scam area? Huang Yijin immediately panics. She says that her daughter was also called by Jinjin. Among the 3 children, except for Xine, who died and was the last one to arrive at the scam area, can basically be confirmed to be telling the truth. One of the other 2 children must be lying. But now that Jinjin has become a vegetable, all that remains is Anqi's word. Xiaozhang is also not a sensible daughter. She was determined to have the money to pay for the bracelet, so she went home to find her mother, yelling and screaming for money. Zhang Shikai's mother was about to host an evening party. This party was ostensibly a charity party, but it was actually inviting famous people in the industry to use charity donations to launder money. Now, she only had a small amount of cash on hand and had to redeem Zhang Shikai, so she had no money for Xiaozhang at all. But that night, Xiaozhang had a date with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's mother. She stubbornly said that if she didn't have money in an hour, she would dare to do anything. Her mother didn't say much and directly ordered her subordinates to control her. Not long after, Zhang Shikai's mother took the money to the agreed-upon time and place to redeem Zhang Shikai. Zhao Jing took the money and exchanged cars for Zhang Shikai's mother, but she drove her son to a bridge, preparing to pour gasoline and burn him alive. At the moment of death, the pharmacy owner, who had been hiding in the trunk, jumped out. He pointed a gun at Zhang Shikai's mother and snatched Zhang Shikai's hood, so he could see the person who wanted him dead. It turned out that even his own mother didn't want him to live. Before benefits, people's hearts are the easiest to test. Locked at home, Xiaozhang finally climbed out the window and escaped. But when she arrived at the restaurant, Ethan was furious. He gave Xiaozhang a file, saying that his mother had investigated the real situation of her family. It turned out that she was the sister of a scammer, and her family wasn't rich at all. Xiaozhang was stunned and wanted to explain, but Ethan angrily left. But the car stopped immediately after rolling for a distance. Ethan signaled Xiaozhang to get in the car, telling her that the bracelet had been returned and she didn't need to pay the money. Moreover, he was only angry because she had been hiding things. Did you think that my feelings for you would change because of these things? Ethan took her hand and gently said that it was all Zhang Shikai's fault, not hers. You are a good girl. I want to run away with you. It's just that my family doesn't agree, and they will have to suffer for 2 years. Xiaozhang was moved to tears and immediately took Ethan's hand. She wouldn't let him suffer. She knew that her mother had a cryptocurrency wallet. She would steal it, and then they would run away together and live a rich life. But she didn't expect that all of this was already in Hui Jun's calculations. That day, Anqi rarely visited Jinjin's hospital room. She finally confessed the truth. That is, the person who knew Zhang Shikai from before was not her but Jinjin, and that everything was done by her. Hearing these words, Hui Jun's heart sank. She knew that with Xiaojing's personality, if Xiaojing found out that her own daughter had harmed her daughter, Xiaojing would definitely not spare Jinjin. A rift and a big separation were created between the two mothers. The pharmacy owner rescued Zhang Shikai. Looking at his painful expression, he suddenly felt strangely satisfied. In fact, this wasn't the first time Zhang Shikai's mother wanted to attack her son. Previously, after Zhang Shikai returned to Taiwan, he often went around touting and addicted everywhere. This made his mother very indignant. She had repeatedly advised him, but Zhang Shikai didn't listen. Fearing that it would affect the money laundering business, she had to bribe her subordinates, telling them to stuff Zhang Shikai with some illegal goods and wait until he was high and his consciousness was not clear before attacking and killing him. The subordinate agreed, but called to demand that she raise the price at the crucial moment. The two bargained for a while and finally settled on a price. Just as he was about to kill again, a kind old woman who picked up scraps next door rushed out to stop him. Inadvertently, the needle in his hand was knocked off, and all the medicine inside fell out. In anger, he took a brick and... That old woman was Ethan's grandmother. Ethan just came home from school and ran over when he saw this. The subordinate knew he was at a disadvantage and ran away. Because of this, Ethan inadvertently saved Zhang Shikai. Later, the police asked Ethan what had happened. Ethan said that the street lights were dim at the time, and he couldn't see the murderer's face at all. It just so happened that Zhao Jing and Hui Jun heard these words. Zhao Jing still suspected Zhang Shikai, not to mention that he was still high at the time, so she was sure that no one else would attack her grandmother, asking if Ethan had made a mistake. Ethan firmly insisted that Zhang Shikai was completely innocent. Seeing the murderer who killed her daughter slip out of her hands, Zhao Jing almost collapsed. At this time, the pharmacy owner recognized her and used translation software to apologize to her. I didn't expect Zhang Shikai to find out. Sorry, I couldn't get them out. I've always been very guilty. Disappointed, Zhao Jing left the police station and went to the roof, planning to end her life. But at the decisive moment, Hui Jun pulled her back. If even Zhao Jing gave up, what would she do? Hui Jun spent money to find out about Ethan and learned that he and his grandmother had relied on each other to live for so many years. To help his family, Ethan had to sell himself as a gigolo. Male prostitute, she called Ethan, but instead of showing contempt, she gently recounted the story of her daughter and begged Ethan to help her. Although Ethan said he had nothing to do with this matter, at the trial, he gave a completely different testimony, just as Zhao Jing and Hui Jun expected. Ethan said he saw Zhang Shikai attacking his grandmother that day. This helped the police convict Zhang Shikai. Later, to clearly investigate the matter, Ethan also participated in this revenge. But Zhang Shikai was not willing to die like this. He began to use his words to divide Zhao Jing and Wang Hui Jun. When Zhao Jing was alone with him, he deliberately told her that Jinjin was his girlfriend. She wasn't imprisoned at all and went there voluntarily. She had a personal account at a bank in Taiwan, and all the money in it was transferred to her by him. Every time Jinjin managed to trick someone into coming, she would receive a sum of money. Hearing this, Zhao Jing was really excited. She immediately went through the discharge procedures for Jinjin. Not long after, Hui Jun returned to the hospital and found that her daughter was missing. She quickly called Zhao Jing, questioning what she wanted to do. Zhao Jing said she wanted to confront Jinjin directly. The so-called direct confrontation was to pull out Jinjin's breathing tube, let her life slip out of her hands, and then take her to the priestess to resurrect. But how could Hui Jun agree? From sisters in suffering, they immediately turned against each other and became enemies. Since Zhao Jing had taken her daughter away, Hui Juan was forced to return to the storage room and escort Zhang Shikai. She questioned him as to why he had framed her daughter. Zhang Shikai gave a devilish smile. How could he frame Jinjin when he loved her so madly? Going back 10 years, the three girls Xine were in high school. Because they didn't do well on the homework, the teacher asked the three to plant banana trees, implementing a punishment. But the girls' clothes kept slipping down, revealing their underwear. Facing this situation, Anqi only knew how to endure it silently. Jinjin pretended to be exhausted, got up, wanted to fix her clothes, and conveniently probed the teacher's attitude. However, the teacher still didn't show any mercy. Xine, on the other hand, couldn't bear it anymore and stood up to oppose the teacher. As a result, the three were invited to see their parents. After learning about the incident, Huang Yijin was indifferent, thinking that this was not a big deal and that the upcoming exam was the most important thing now. Xine's mother immediately retorted, "Isn't this public harassment?" As parents, they must know how to protect their children, so she suggested replacing the teacher. Meanwhile, Hui Juan sat in the middle, making peace. Outside the office, the three children also had different views. Anqi didn't thank Xine at all, only complaining that she was disturbing her mother's work, and she would definitely be scolded when she got home. Jinjin also agreed, blaming Xine for being too rigid and daring to provoke the teacher, so that they would be targeted by the teacher in the future. The personalities of the three children were all like their mothers. Hui Juan liked to use soft measures, and her daughter learned to secretly play tricks behind her back, speaking nice words in front of her. Zhao Jing didn't tolerate evil and had a clear distinction between black and white, and her daughter was as righteous and kind as her. Huang Yijin and her daughter valued interests more. In the end, the school asked them to vote on whether to deal with the teacher. Zhao Jing firmly demanded to deal with it. Huang Yijin thought the teacher was good, so she should keep him. Hui Juan hesitated a little, but at the last moment, she chose justice and agreed with Zhao Jing. In the end, that teacher was dealt with. Huang Yijin mobilized her relationships and team to investigate Zhang Shikai's mother's charity, and indeed discovered some clues. This fund borrowed the name of a charity to launder money. The main method was for officials and people in power to donate in cash. In fact, the fund would exchange the cash for cryptocurrency and return it to them or do the opposite. After washing it back and forth like this, the money on the books would become clean. This matter even involved a council member, and the water was too deep. Huang Yijin advised not to act rashly, but Zhao Jing didn't care so much. She knew that the secretary of this council member was Hui Jun's husband's lover. She used this as a weakness to threaten her, asking her to hand over the books recording the money laundering activities of the council member. After a night of thinking, Hui Juan reviewed the video of reporting the police back then, confirming that her daughter had written the call for help on the banknote and given it to Anqi. If it were her daughter who reported the police, then she must not be Zhang Shikai's lover. But Zhao Jing insisted that what was written on the banknote could not be seen clearly in the video, so it could not be used as evidence to clear the name. These words were the last straw, and Hui Juan snapped. Did she know why Xine was not liked at school? Because she was as stubborn as Zhao Jing. Even so, Zhao Jing refused to let go. Angry and nowhere to vent, Hui Juan turned around, intending to deal with Zhang Shikai. Seeing that he was about to die, Zhang Shikai said an ambiguous sentence. He said that Anqi was his girlfriend, and it was Anqi who pushed Jinjin down the stairs. Hui Juan seized the opportunity and intended to record these words. Unexpectedly, Zhang Shikai seduced her. Do you think Zhao Jing will believe it? Or how about this, you let me go? I'll help you kill Zhao Jing and save your daughter. Hui Juan knew that doing so was very likely to release a tiger back to the forest, with endless consequences, but she really wanted to save her daughter, so she couldn't resist the temptation and release Zhang Shikai. On this side, Xiao Zhang finally discovered Ethan's identity. But Ethan wasn't in the least panicked, asking if she wanted to use the stolen cryptocurrency wallet to exchange for her brother's life. In fact, Xiao Zhang also had some feelings for Zhang Shikai. From a young age, they had relied on each other to live. They were taken to an orphanage and adopted by Mrs. Zhang. It was just that she wasn't a good person. She often beat them. Her brother, Zhang Shikai, always stood up to shield his sister, bearing all the punishments. Unable to bear it, Xiao Zhang rushed up to shield herself and was also beaten. To protect his sister, Zhang Shikai was willing to do everything, not caring about life or death, to earn money for her. So, Facing Ethan's request, she immediately agreed. But when she arrived at the exchange site, she pulled out a gun. Zhang Shikai thought that there was finally someone in this world who cared about him. As soon as he got into the car, he was overjoyed, wanting to go to Southeast Asia with his sister to rebuild his career. Unexpectedly, Xiaozhang said that they no longer belonged to the same world, and then pulled out a gun and pointed it at him. Zhang Shikai immediately softened, promising to share half of the money with her, but Xiaozhang insisted on not listening. The two sides wrestled, causing the car to lose control and eventually have an accident. Xiaozhang died on the spot. At this time, Hui Juan and Ethan also rushed over to rob the cryptocurrency wallet. But Hui Juan let Zhang Shikai go, telling him to kill Zhao Jing, and then she would give him the wallet. A person who had done so many dirty things like Zhang Shikai, sometimes there was a weakness in his heart. Having a weakness would become a weakness. Hui Juan knew that the path she was walking was extremely dangerous, and she wanted Ethan not to participate anymore. So she said harsh words. "You are no longer of any use. Get out of my sight now." As for Anchi, at the last moment before boarding the plane to leave Southeast Asia, she saw the news about Xiaozhang's death and couldn't help but get off the plane. She returned to Southeast Asia and quickly found Zhang Shikai. Zhang Shikai told Anchi that on the first night she arrived at the scam area, he had noticed her. He said that on that night, when she was asleep, dozens of men were waiting outside. Jinjin agreed to his request to protect her, because he had promised Jinjin that as long as she brought more people over, he would not let his men touch her. So, in the scam area, Anchi was only raped by Zhang Shikai alone. He could clearly determine that Anchi's child was his. Hearing this answer, Anchi's heart was like ashes. She hated Jinjin because Jinjin had dragged Xianyi down. But she didn't expect that Jinjin did it in order to protect her. She had been hating the wrong person all along. So what about her pushing Jinjin off the building? What about everything she had done from before until now? Zhang Shikai was indeed a master of manipulation. He used words to arouse suspicion, making everyone suspect each other, while he benefited from it. Just like what the girls had experienced, now Zhao Jing and Hui Juan had turned against each other, just because of a few words from him. Zhang Shikai's mother was not to be outdone. She sent her subordinates everywhere to search for her cryptocurrency wallet. Ethan was unfortunately shot, and the wallet was robbed in front of Hui Jun's eyes. When Xianyi wanted to take her two remaining friends to escape, but was caught, her situation became very dangerous. Zhang Shikai told them that one of the three had reported the news, so the escape plan failed. Now he wanted Xianyi to guess who the reporter was, and then cut a stroke on that person, and then she would be allowed to leave. Xianyi certainly refused to do it. Anchi also kept shaking her head. Zhang Shikai then grabbed Anchi's hand, forcing her to stab Xianyi. In the end, Jinjin stood up and grabbed the knife, cutting herself, as if to end this matter. What was worth mentioning was that Zhang Shikai let Jinjin go, and Anchi was not easy to let go of Xianyi. Xianyi was locked in a cage and continued to be tortured. Anchi couldn't bear to see her friend being tortured like this. That night, she took the initiative to enter Zhang Shikai's room. The next day, when they went to send money, Jinjin seized the opportunity, wrote a call for help on the banknote, and gave it to Anchi. Immediately, Anchi gave it to the bank teller. At night, Jinjin sneaked out, bringing water to Xianyi, who was dying. Unfortunately, it was still too late, and Xianyi breathed her last breath in her arms. At this time, the police raided the scam area. The whole area was in chaos. Jinjin angrily wanted to find Zhang Shikai to avenge her friend, but met Anchi on the way. They had a heated argument. Jinjin sarcastically asked if she was a reporter. What was Anchi? Could it be a tool for Zhang Shikai to satisfy his desires? It was this sentence that angered Anchi to the extreme, accidentally pushing her off the railing. Now, Zhao Jing had obtained the books recording the illegal transactions between the council member and the charity through the secretary of the council member. She blocked the opponent in the toilet to threaten him. She would give him a chance, unless he came forward to expose the scam gang. At the evening party that day, when the council member went on stage to speak, his palms were sweating, his head was spinning, but in the end, he made the decision to give up the chess piece to keep the car. There are some people who have borrowed the name of charity to... Unexpectedly, before he could finish speaking, Zhang's mother realized that the situation was not right, so she ordered her subordinates to control him and pull him down. At this time, everyone present was in chaos, and the guests fell to the ground one after another. It turned out that Hui Juan and Zhang Shikai had put medicine in the drinks at the party in advance. However, Zhao Jing did not drink that water, and Zhang's mother did not. She ordered her subordinates to control Zhao Jing, snatched her filming phone, and locked her up. Even though most of the guests had been tricked, Zhang's mother calmly commanded her subordinates to collect all the money and exchange it for cryptocurrency. At this moment, Zhang Shikai suddenly appeared and shot Zhang's mother's capable right-hand man. Seeing that the situation was not right, she quickly ran away. She ran all the way to the room where Zhao Jing was being held, but Zhang Shikai still caught up with her. He snatched the knife from her hand and stabbed her in the leg. At this point, Zhang's mother revealed her true colors, wanting to use soft tactics, saying that now that the money had been laundered, she could still get the land and hand it over to him to manage. But Zhang Shikai no longer believed her empty promises. When he was kidnapped, she asked him for 40 million in ransom. She didn't give it but wanted to kill him. Now, he just wanted her to hand over the cryptocurrency wallet. Having no other choice, the foster mother had to hand over the wallet. But Zhang Shikai did not show mercy because of this. He kept twisting the wound, forcing her to say the password. Zhao Jing, in the cage, also took the opportunity to learn the password of the wallet. "Do you remember that you taught me not to leave survivors?" Zhang Shikai raised his gun, pointing it at Zhao Jing in the cage. At the critical moment, the pharmacy owner knocked Zhang Shikai down from behind. Zhao Jing quickly picked up the key from the ground and opened the cage. But she and the pharmacy owner combined were no match for Zhang Shikai. Although Zhao Jing snatched the wallet back from Zhang Shikai, she was kicked and fell down the stairs. The next second, this guy grabbed the pharmacy owner and used him as a pad, wanting to die together, and then jumped straight down the stairs. The three fell sprawling on the floor, dizzy. When Zhao Jing woke up, she saw the pharmacy owner and Zhang Shikai lying motionless not far away. She didn't think about adding another knife, but instead went to see if the boss was dead. Seeing that the boss seemed to be dead, Zhang Shikai opened his eyes again. Zhao Jing was frightened, grabbed the wallet, and turned to run. Zhang Shikai quickly woke up, picked up the gun from the ground, and chased after her. The two chased each other to the yard. They wrestled, and Zhang Shikai's gun flew out. Hui Juan appeared out of nowhere, just picking up the gun. Zhang Shikai began to use his words to fascinate Hui Juan. He told her that there was only one bullet left in the gun. As long as Hui Juan let him go, he would never appear in her and Jinjin's lives again. But if she spared Zhao Jing would haunt her and her daughter for the rest of their lives. Hui Juan seemed to have really been fascinated by him, firing the last bullet at Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing was shot and fell to the ground. Zhang Shikai was overjoyed, picked up the wallet, and intended to run away. But before leaving, he did not forget to mock Hui Juan for being an idiot. Unexpectedly, Zhao Jing, who was lying on the ground, got up. It turned out that this was a play that they had discussed in advance, the purpose of which was to make Zhang Shikai careless and tell the truth. Most importantly, Zhang Shikai still thought he could actually continue living. The next second, his body dissolved into dust. Meanwhile, Hui Jun's daughter opened her eyes, recovering consciousness. It turned out that the big boss behind the scam area had long wanted to eliminate the greedy Zhang Shikai and his mother. Jinjin seized this opportunity, offering to play the role of the victim to report to the police, so that she could eliminate Zhang Shikai and his mother without spending a penny. This shows that justice is not enforced, but the point is that sooner or later, if you can't do it yourself, someone will definitely help you. So don't be discouraged. Keep your spirits as clear as possible. And don't forget to like and subscribe to follow the latest videos if you like them. Goodbye and see you again.